Welcome in everyone to our next episode of um, Between the Hedges here. We got a full cast here tonight, so we're excited. We're excited to go over a few things with you.
Welcome back,
Matthew?
Matthew.
Yeah, Matthew, I want to start with you. Welcome back, sir.
Hi, what's up, guys? Long time no see.
You
Care to
you ha
divulge why exactly you couldn't come on Friday night, or is that top secret? You'd have to kill us.
Top secret. I would have to get you.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
Yes, sir.
tonight what we're gonna do is just so you guys know and everybody out there knows, we're gonna do a little recap of the Georgia game and this weekend and any thoughts that we have there, and then we're gonna get into our new segment after that with our rankings going into week three. So, um, but first of all, I'd like to say. It's I gotta eat some crow. It was a rough week for picks for me. So
Well, we'll definitely get to that because I've got it in black and white and green, and it looks pretty nasty.
yeah.
How do mine
It
look?
wasn't put. Let's put it this way: it wasn't very good for any of us, but
Ooh,
it really wasn't good for you, Micah.
Nope.
I
But
wasn't last. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, we
it
can definitely say you were not last.
it
Oh,
was a
I'll also chime in. Yes, I can keep up or get close to our freshman wide receiver. Just saying,
you mean running back?
or whatever. Yeah, running back, wide receiver, same thing.
Okay.
Anyways,
Okay,
I just wanted to
moving right
clear
along.
the air.
Delusions with Matthew. This is now the channel.
Hey, that may get some traction. Who knows?
Yeah,
Um,
maybe it will.
I guess somebody's got to focus us. So here, I'll go first. My thoughts on the game Saturday. I feel like it's pretty much what I expected out of Georgia, a fast start and it looked relatively easy, for us. And it I feel like it's a that was a classic Kirby Smart, I don't care what the scoreboard says. It's all about us playing against ourselves, playing to a certain standard. And who cares about the spread? He's never ever cared about anything like that, but I do because anyway. um but Dad, what do you
You're
have there?
trash.
It went pretty much exactly like I think I said on Friday night that we were going to use it as a glorified scrimmage because Tennessee Tech was so overmatched it wasn't funny. That score could have been any number we wanted it to be, but Kirby's more interested in getting young guys playing time and game reps and, putting them on film so he can, you know, chew them out about what they did wrong in a real live game and get them to improve and, like you said, live to the standard, play to the standard, than he is scoring 100 points. So that's the reason why I ended up taking Tennessee Tech plus 50 and a half. And lo and behold, it turned out just that way. And, you know, yeah, they could have scored one more touchdown and they would have covered,
You were
but they
razor thin on
didn't.
that.
We
But they
were cutting it
didn't.
close.
That that's true. But I think the whole fourth quarter, I don't think anybody even scored besides them kicking that last second field goal.
Yeah, that
If
was
I'm not
it.
mistaken, I don't think we scored the whole fourth quarter.
I don't
So
think so. I can
they
double
very
check.
easily could have scored one more time and ended up covering that game, but it didn't. They didn't. So,
No, we had a field goal.
oh, we did kick our field
We had
goal.
a
Our
field
last
goal
points were in the
with
fourth quarter too.
yeah,
Okay,
at
I knew it wasn't
3:07.
much. I knew it wasn't much when we put in the JV squad out there. The freshmen, like, God, those guys look awesome too. I mean,
Yeah.
there's another wave of talented players, and that's what I wanted to see out of that game too.
Just a
Is
wave of new
who's
players.
who's coming back, who's coming through the pipeline, you know, it's going to be developed, and they're going to be the next household names for Georgia fans, especially. So it went like I thought it was going to go.
I mean, I will say too, Kirby did keep the starters in a little bit longer than I thought he would. But I mean, shoot, Carson Beck got tied the record for I think a regular season game with 5 TDs. So
I think it's any game, to be honest.
any game.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think
I,
it's any Georgia game. That's the record for past TDs is 5. He tied it.
hmm, well,
Trivia
congrats to
question for
him.
you: Who's the only Georgia quarterback? There's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 that have done that are all tied at 5. There's
Mhm.
only one player that's done it twice. Do you know who that
Matthew
is?
Stafford. Matthew Stafford.
I'm gonna say
Micah?
Aaron Murray.
It was Aaron Murray. He's the only one that's done it twice.
I was either
Anyway, a little
thinking
Georgia trivia
Stafford
there.
or I was thinking
That was a good
Stafford or
guess.
DJ Shockley.
So, so are we ready to go over our pick'em results?
Sure.
I guess.
Let me get my second place. As long as I beat Micah, I'm good.
All right. Is this come up? I'm new to sharing the screens and all this during the live stream.
Yes.
So can y'all see this?
Yep.
Little
Yes.
little little slide here for the results for what we did pick them on the Friday night pick them week 2 games. As you can see down the left, we got the list of the games and the spreads for each one. Um, the final score for each game, and then each of our picks listed. Everything looked correct to everybody. I think I got it all correct here. And then, of course, if it's highlighted green, that means you picked correctly. A wise one. Um, as you can see going down Micah's column there, there's Uno Greeno. That's
Yeah.
that's that's a rough week, 1-5 to start off.
Not
Y'all should have
good.
But
let me
then
keep. Y'all should have let me do Cal.
no, no, it's too late. It was
It
too
wasn't too
late.
late.
It was too late.
Nope.
So me and you were tied at 3-3. We broke even. Micah can't say the same.
He's got some work
So
to do.
yeah, he's got to come back from the rear end. Um,
And
yeah,
I'm pretty confident. Like that Oklahoma State Arkansas game, I watched that game because I had multiple TVs where I was at,
same here. Same here.
and watching that Arkansas
Arkansas,
Oklahoma State game, I wanted to cry because not one
we
Arkansas
dominated
blowing their
them.
lead and dominated them. There were, I think, total yards. It was like 680 to 350
It
in
wasn't
total
even
yards,
close. It was not even close.
and it had to go into overtime, double overtime, and Oklahoma State punched it out.
And
So
I've
Sam Pittman is
Yeah, Micah was
fired.
this close to going 0-6. I mean,
Yep.
so close. I mean, it's
So
hard.
close.
It's hard to go get all of them right, but I think it's even harder
Even
to get them
harder
all
to get them all
wrong.
wrong. 100%.
And he was this close. to getting
Yep.
them all wrong. I mean, the whole first 3 quarters of that game, you're thinking Arkansas is covering this. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Even when they went to overtime, usually, it's by field goal or something that the final score is the difference. So Arkansas would have covered or
Hmm.
even then won outright. And you're like, no, Oklahoma State scores, they go for two and get it. And then I don't know what Arkansas was doing in that second overtime, but they didn't score at all, or they got stopped.
And
So it
so
ends up being an
stupid.
8 point spread.
Thank God.
So
Yeah,
stupid.
you're saying thank God.
So stupid.
So and then the other game that stood out, I mean, Texas and Michigan, it was a decent game. Texas just totally outclassed Michigan to me. I mean,
Like I
Michigan
said,
is not the same team they were last year.
not
That's
not one
that's
bit.
evident.
No,
And they've
uh,
still got a good team, and I think they're going to compete for the Big Ten championship once again. I don't know that they'll win it this year, but besides that, the other game on here that just blew me away with the result was the Kentucky South Carolina game. I mean, my gosh,
Sucks.
nobody, nobody saw that coming.
no.
Sucks.
So, but before we get into that game,
Oh,
can
you got to go back.
can we? So Michigan, I'm not shocked that they got outclassed because of how much they lost. I'm shocked at how little of a pulse they showed on offense at home. Defense, they looked really good
Well,
the first two
well, I
quarters of
mean,
that game.
that's the same thing they showed the first game though is their pulse on offense. Just even playing a nobody team. I forget who they played first, but it wasn't anybody great,
Fresno State.
Yeah.
huh? I
They
can't
played
understand you when you do that.
Fresno State.
There you go, Fresno State. Um, but I mean, they came out and they did the same thing. They struggle on offense. They people were expecting them to roll them basically, and they didn't. So to come out against the even stiffer competition, some people think Texas should be the number one team in the nation now. Um, and they definitely have a tougher defense than Fresno State, right?
Oh yeah.
So of course, they're going to struggle against the better defense. I
I,
mean,
I was just thinking
Mr.
you're at home and you've got game day there, you've got celebrities there, let's show up and fight for a half. But it didn't even really look like that. I mean, halftime score was what was it?
No,
Like
yeah,
two touchdown lead for Texas going into or three going into halftime. So
It was 24-3.
yeah. So I mean it was game over. I mean,
I mean it was like Georgia Clemson, except it wasn't that at halftime. I mean that game mirrored the Georgia Clemson game to me a lot as far as the domination of opponent.
but something to be said, like you said, they're not a bad team. Don't don't sleep on Michigan. Don't sell all of your stock the rest of the season because they're not going to play Texas again.
Right. And did y'all see what Clemson did this weekend?
Yeah.
They rolled.
It's amazing how good they are when they're not playing Georgia.
A lot of teams
Yep.
can say that.
Okay, I agree. That line's long.
You
That
know,
line is long.
watching the Georgia game, there was a stat or a stat, and that was said there's not one active head coach that has
That is
beaten
beating Kirby.
Kirby Smart.
Yeah,
The
all the
six
way.
losses are all coaches that are either retired or assistant coaches now.
Yeah, they're not active head coaches anymore. Um, I think that's since like 2020 or something, that stat. So,
Yeah.
but but then, like I said, the other game that just totally blew my doors off was the Kentucky. I didn't see, and I don't care what Matthew says. Nobody saw that coming. If they weren't in that South Carolina locker room, they did not see that result coming to fruition on the football field Saturday afternoon. Nobody, even the people that are paid millions of dollars to do what we're doing right now, nobody said, yeah, South Carolina's going to come out there and just kick the crap out of Kentucky and make them curl up in the fetal position and beg for mercy, which is what happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
They,
that was just crazy.
Straight dominant,
Mhm.
but it just Kentucky's gonna have a bad couple weeks because now they got
Yeah,
us.
because they got us coming next.
They're
It's not
going to
going to
their
get any
place.
better for them.
No,
I mean, their
and
offensive
they're
line couldn't block anybody.
nope.
Now, I'll give you this: South Carolina's got a couple of defensive ends that just won't quit.
Yep, they won't
That
stop.
freshman, he's a problem. That especially that freshman
Yeah,
that they have, Dylan
and
Stewart, I think is his name, or his last name is Stewart, if I'm not mistaken. But he he's
Stewart.
he's going to wreak havoc on a lot of teams that they play against. Um,
Oh,
but
they're lucky they don't play us,
Yeah, we don't play South Carolina this year unless we both make the championship game or in the playoffs or whatever. But I don't
which
see
could
that
happen.
happening either. Okay,
It could.
no, don't
can't
even.
happen. That's not going to
Anything's
happen,
possible.
Matthew.
You got to play the game.
That is not possible.
You got to play the game.
All right, somebody's got to pull up South Carolina's schedule and show
I,
me how they get to 10 wins so they make the playoffs or the
nine
Uh,
SEC championship.
nine may
they could
make it.
beat. They could beat Vanderbilt. They can beat Kentucky or Florida, Auburn.
There aren't
Okay,
a
so
lot
you're
of
They
that's
so
four.
so so
That's four.
that would get them to
they
five
sh-
wins.
they should have beat South
No,
Carolina, but they pooped them pants.
what? They're 2 and
Huh?
0. They've won both their games. Pull up their schedule and go right down their schedule.
Oh, sorry.
South Carolina
South
schedule.
Carolina. Oh, sorry. I was looking at Kentucky's. They could beat LSU. That's next this coming up week.
Uh,
LSU didn't look that good.
is that at home or
Um,
at LSU?
that is at home. So, and then they got
Yeah,
two hard games.
that's maybe a fence. Tell me the
Yeah,
wins
yeah.
that they have left on their schedule. They're at 2 and 0. They've got to get 8 more wins.
Texas A&M,
Okay.
Vanderbilt,
Okay, that's 2 that you legitimately think they can win.
Oklahoma.
All right, I'll give you Oklahoma even. I think
I,
that's on the road though.
no, they're not going to beat
And
Oklahoma.
Just give it to him. That's
and
3. So they're at 5 wins right now. He's looking at that schedule and he's thinking hard. He's like, dang, who else are they going to beat?
well, I
It's
mean,
going to be a 5 or 6 win season for them, nuts and
uh,
bolts. So they're not making the playoff and they're not making the SEC championship game. So they're more than likely not playing Georgia this year.
whatever.
And they're lucky that they're not playing Georgia because they'd be a 3 or 4 win team this year.
That is true.
So,
Hey,
Uh,
you were watching. We're not making fun of South Carolina. We know you've got your best friend playing for them. I understand. I love Demetrius. I hope all the best for him, and I hope he goes out there and balls every game, and I hope he makes it to the next level.
Yeah, me too.
Being honest about their team,
Yeah.
their ceiling on wins is maybe 6 or 7 at the most. I mean, if things go right for them, that's what they're
If
looking
you
at to
count,
me.
if you count non-conference, yeah.
So
Um,
anyway, then of course Tennessee, NC State, that turned into a laugher really quick too. I mean, that was just a total beatdown of
Yeah.
epic proportions. And Nico, was Nico and did Nico things. And, their defense, like I said on Friday, that defense is pretty legit too. So, um,
you want to
I
talk about
was
relentless? That's a relentless pass rush. Georgia's gonna have to Georgia's gonna have to handle that. Um,
yeah. The good
that's a
news
um
about that is it's at the end of the season when hopefully, you know,
we are
we've got
developed.
everybody firing on all cylinders. And, you know,
Hopefully
I'm not
they're on
afraid of
their
Tennessee.
downfall.
I'm not afraid of Tennessee.
I'm
We
afraid of
we
Texas.
so
I,
and then to wrap it up after that, Auburn, Cal. Yeah, you see, we all picked Auburn like dumb SEC homers that we are. That's what we all get for trusting in Auburn. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I tried to switch.
that yeah, that's my last time. Picking Auburn this season,
Yep.
and
One
uh,
and done.
you know, to go, yeah, I won't say last time, but because I'm sure they'll come up against somebody else that I don't know, but they're just every time you feel like you can trust them, um, they start doing Auburn things. And the last time they were anything, they had uh, what was his name, Marshall, the running quarterback, and
Mhm.
so and before that they won the national championship with Scam Newton. So I don't really take Auburn serious. Now, Hugh Freeze is a good coach, and I think he's starting to recruit at a really high level, so watch out, they're coming. But I don't know if we can trust them this
I don't
year
know that I don't know that you can say they're there yet. They need a quarterback that runs his system well.
badly.
When he was at Liberty and he had the quarterback there that he had, that dude was pretty decent
It was
and he ran that
money.
system really well. And
Malik.
they won 10, 11, 12 games that year, if I'm not mistaken. So to wrap it up, Micah brings up the rear 1-5 out of his first week's picks. And
Let's
then me and
go.
Matthew are tied at the lead with 3-3.
I should be four
So
and two, but
shoulda, coulda, woulda. If you'd have put it in on the paper on time, you would have been, but you didn't.
Hey,
mhm.
we're gonna be accountable. 7 p.m. the night before. Rankings or 7 p.m.
Heard,
same night. Rankings and picks.
heard.
Okay? I
Hmm.
mean, it's, that gives you all week to think about it. Um, so
You got all this week. Of course, I got to get y'all the games that we're going to do this week, but we'll get that soon. Any other thoughts on any of these games that we did last week?
I really enjoyed the Texas Michigan game. Um, I didn't have much to chime in on that at the time that we were talking about it, but I will say, um, I'm kind of the opposite of how Micah feels about Michigan. Michigan's just awful. There's no hope in that locker room at all. Um, Texas went to Michigan
Right. To
and
come in with the hot take.
beat the brakes off of them at home.
Yeah, but Texas is really, really good. They're not going to play another
Yeah,
team that strong until they play maybe Ohio
Nebraska,
State. Maybe Ohio State.
the,
Nebraska.
Nebraska's not on the same level as Texas. they got a good quarterback and they've got a good it looks like a good offensive line. But
Hey, remember who Nebraska played this week?
yeah, come on
Still,
now.
There are a lot of teams
still,
that can do that to Colorado. That list is long too.
I wish Colorado would play Georgia. I wish. They really want the smoke. Come get it. Like, come on. For real. Y'all are about all that chatter and you want, clicks and all that. Play Georgia.
I agree.
We'll come out to Boulder. Play
Oh yeah,
Georgia.
yeah. Send me to Boulder. But yeah, I just Michigan is yikes. They're not as bad as Florida State, but they're yikes.
Not many are as bad as Florida State, it looks like.
Right. Right.
Vanderbilt looks like they're gonna have a better season than Florida State. Let's think
I
about
hope
that.
they do. I hope they do.
That might be a stretch.
Now, no, it won't.
That
Not
might
with
be a
DJ as their
stretch.
quarterback.
Who?
DJ Trash Can.
Hmm.
Mm.
My, my grandmother can
Gullah.
throw the ball. My grandmother can throw better than him.
Which grandmother?
Whichever one.
Mm.
All three of them, really. Four.
Are we ready to unveil our rankings going into week 3?
Yes.
Now, we want to say that these are the 12, we're saying it's the 12 best teams right now, not the 12 that we think will make the playoff, because that could be a
This has
little
nothing to
different.
do with the playoff. This is just the top 12 for the
Right.
rankings.
And
Is it showing up on y'all screen?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But what I wanted to say was that, you know, these same 12 teams probably don't have as good of a chance of making the playoff because there's certain qualifications for each seed in the playoff. So, that this is unlikely to look like that, but these are the 12 best teams that we think there are.
Well, go for it, Micah. You got the floor.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I haven't seen a more complete team yet than Georgia, so I've got them one. You can probably argue Texas up there now that they've had a really, really good win at Michigan. They looked like they could be as dominant at times, but I don't think they're as complete, so I put them at 2. I got Ohio State 3, and that's just kind of to me, they're I got a placeholder with putting them there because I haven't seen them play anybody, but I just that's based off of their just pure talent and potential.
Just
Um,
a quick, if I can, real quick, just one thought. Looking at these, it's interesting to me that all three of us have the top two teams the same,
mhm.
and then nothing else. Nothing else is the same. Yeah,
Well, that's
I mean, it's just interesting. That just shows you how it is at the beginning of the season and all that good stuff. I mean, we think UGA and Texas, and I think we would all agree that they're 1 and 2. I think UGA is 1 and Texas is 2. We all do, but I could see an argument where somebody could make it where it was Texas 1, UGA 2, but whatever. But then after that, it's just you know no, we don't. None of us agree on any of it after that. So go ahead, Mike. I didn't mean to interrupt.
it's good. I mean, that's what's good for the show, right? I mean, we have differing opinions from 3 through 12, and a lot of people out there would too. That's part of there being a top 12 now instead of only caring about 4, or I guess we would have done 10. But um, yeah, Ohio State I'm just placing them there based on the future, what they could be, their talent. Tennessee, I've got them 4. And this is where it starts getting into I'm rewarding how you've looked so far and who you've played. Tennessee, went basically to a quasi home game for NC State in Charlotte, and just beat the brakes off of them. Literally, they stomped them. So I've got them 4. I got Ole Miss 5 just because of their offense just looks like it's going to be really hard to stop, and they actually do look like they've made a little improvement on defense. So I've got them 5. If they can keep playing good defense like that, watch out for Ole Miss. Miami. I mean, start week 1, they look like they might have the Heisman front runner right now, just based off of his performances. They stomped Florida in the swamp. That doesn't happen ever. So got them 6. I got Alabama 7 just because Alabama's had 2 slow starts. So watch out for that. That could be a trend moving forward on them. But I got them there just out of respect for their talent, like Ohio State and their pedigree. Um, Missouri's 8. Um, I, I think Missouri's going to end up being either somewhere in the top, close to top 5 at the end of the season. They're a really good team. They're probably my sleeper pick to make a deep run in the playoff. So I got them at 8. USC's 9 just because they beat LSU, quite frankly. If LSU had won, I'd probably have them in this spot. So they took care of business in a pseudo home game as well for them. Um, I got Utah 10 just because I think they're going to be the best Big 12 team this year. Um, so Utah will get one of those automatic bids, unfortunately, but or fortunately. But then I got Oklahoma State at 11. They, like we talked about, had to squeak one out against Arkansas, so I'm not super confident in putting them here. Um, and then I've got Oregon. Oregon could be as high as 2 or 3 had they looked better, but they, like Alabama, have had 2 very close games, slow starts. So I got them just on the fringe of my playoff picture.
Sounds good to me.
Who
What
wants
about
to go
you, Matthew?
next?
What was your thoughts on your top 12 here?
So obviously, but all of us have UGA and Texas, probably the 2 best teams out there. Then I have Alabama 3, even though they've been slow. I've had 2 slow starting games and they have an easier schedule. I'm putting them at 3, just like you put Ohio State at 3, just because of talent and their future. Because that's a team that Georgia tends to struggle with, so I'm giving them the respect and the benefit of the doubt. Um, so I put them at 3. Ole Miss at 4 because they're on the come up, and I think with how their defense is playing, even though they haven't really played anybody crazy or anybody good, I still think they would be a good solid 4, number 4. Then I got Ohio State at 5. Um, I just put them there just because I think they could be top 5, top 7 um, at the end of the season. So I stuck them at 5 for now. Then I have Tennessee, Missouri. I put Missouri at 7 for now, just because um, no no good game yet. even though it's only been 2 games. I'll really see how they look when they play Georgia, right? Don't they play Georgia?
We play Georgia. If we play Missouri, I don't think so. I don't think we play them this year.
They they play Tennessee, right?
Hold
Can't
on one
remember.
second. All right, so Missouri,
They play
they,
Alabama.
they play Alabama, they don't play Tennessee, and they don't play Georgia. So they've got Alabama, Oklahoma. They've got a lighter schedule. That's why a lot
They've
of
got
people,
a they've got a favorable schedule.
Yeah. So I mean, they
So
can
their
make a
toughest
run.
their toughest games are Alabama.
and it's at Alabama.
Yeah,
Okay, and who else? Who else do they play?
Their toughest,
Which
Oklahoma.
is tough.
Oklahoma will be a tough one. They've also got Texas A&M on the road. That's a hard place to play.
Uh,
Um, they've got
well,
South
they're sitting
Carolina on the road. That could be a sneaky one.
for them. Yeah, you're right. It could be.
So, and at Mississippi State, again, sneaky hard place to play. Cowbells, and so
Cow, if your cowbells where the sun don't shine.
Yeah,
That doesn't.
I think the putting Missouri there for now, they look solid, but
Chances are pretty
uh,
good they're going to have a decent season because of
yeah,
their team is really good and they miss a lot of the heavy hitters in the
they
regular
do.
season from the SEC. If they're
Yeah,
not playing Georgia and they're not playing Texas and they're not playing Ole Miss,
yeah,
you know, they're missing a lot of the better teams in their schedule this year.
they're
So
definitely gonna have to prove it in the playoff if they make it.
with that
That's all I
schedule,
gotta
they
say.
should. Yeah, with
Yeah,
that schedule though, they should. And it
mm,
with that schedule, they're going to be pushing for making the SEC championship. You know, because
yeah,
this year there's not East and West anymore. Remember
it's
that.
all
It's
one
all one. So it's just the top two
and
teams.
two.
So who
Mhm.
and if they, you got eight SEC games, and if they go 8-0, they got to be up near the top.
Yeah,
So
I yeah, a little hot take. I think we should do 9 conference games, in my opinion.
I
they
think
will when the timing's right, and the timing's
Right.
right when the powers that be and the people that broadcast the games fork over the right amount of money for that ninth game.
For
mhm.
sure.
That's
But
what it'll come down to, unfortunately.
for sure. But yeah. And just to wrap up, I got Penn State at 8, just because they are a top 10 team. It's very hard to play against them at their place. So I solely off of that, I think I'll keep them in the
Well,
top 10.
Bowling Green didn't think it was too tough to play at their place.
No,
They,
yeah, I mean,
I mean, they were this
yeah,
close to not
they
being
were
a top 10
close.
team anymore.
They were. It would, but I mean, I would still stick them at 8 regardless, because I don't know. I
You're
didn't have
obviously higher on them than either me or Micah are.
true.
As you can see, I've got him at 11, and Micah doesn't even have him in the top 12. So, I mean, that's what makes the world go round. We all have our opinions, right? I mean,
Right.
I, you know, anyway, go ahead.
Then we got Oregon, Miami, USC, and Utah. I put Oregon at 9 just because of, the hype. But it was kind of hard for me to put them at 9 because they really haven't looked that good. So my top 12 might be changing throughout the season. And then,
I'm sure it will.
yeah, lastly, I'll mention USC. They look really good. I put them at 11 just because, yeah, they beat LSU, but their schedule, um, it's not the greatest. I mean, they do play Penn State in about 4 weeks, or yeah, a month from now. So, but they got Michigan this week, so we'll see how they
Where is
do
that game?
against.
Michigan.
Yeah, it's got to be at Michigan. Yeah, or no, yeah,
Yeah.
it's at Michigan.
So you're telling me that Michigan, I think I saw when we were watching the game this week, they hadn't lost a home game in like the last 23 or so something games.
They're about to
And
lose
they're
two.
staring down the barrel of losing back-to-back home games, roughly.
Yep.
Because, I mean, USC to go in there and beat them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Yep.
Well, buddy, going by your own rankings, USC's number 9, and I see Michigan nowhere on there.
Where they at though?
See,
I
see,
have I have Michigan right at 13 right now.
sure you do. Yeah, that sounds good. There's no proof of that.
No, okay, so let's do a top
I'm teasing.
25.
I'm teasing you. I'm
I
teasing
mean,
you.
I could have put Michigan in over Oklahoma State. I could have put them in over Utah even. So,
Yeah, I don't think that would be fair because they don't look like a top 10 or
and that's why
12
I don't
team.
have them there.
Right. But
Yeah.
the argument is USC going in there and beating them at home like Texas
But
did is very plausible.
yeah, I think it'll be a similar score too.
But USC doesn't have the big offensive and defensive line to really bother Michigan like Texas did.
I
But
take for you
Michigan
here.
doesn't have
USC might win the Big Ten in their first season.
No,
They might win the Big
Nebraska.
Ten this year.
Give me Nebraska.
you're big on Nebraska after beating.
Yeah, he's drinking the Riola Kool-Aid, the red
Hey,
Kool-Aid.
hey, he's looking good as a true freshman. I wish he went to UGA, but he wanted playing time and he's looking solid. So I'm riding it.
He's looking solid. A lot of quarterbacks look solid playing Colorado.
That
Okay, cool.
crappy
You got to
defense.
play Colorado every game, you'd win the Heisman
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, easily. I could win the Heisman playing
because
Colorado.
they can't stop nobody.
Yeah.
And that's we saw a better USC defense, but USC is known for that defense too.
But they're not that this year, and the season will bear that out.
And I
We'll see this weekend. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
And
a lot will show.
I feel like
I
that
mean,
game is going to be very, very similar to the Texas Michigan game as far as score
it
wise.
is.
It's not going to be
Well,
as dominant, but I feel like it's going to be a similar score just because
my whole point
Michigan,
was I think it's amazing that Michigan went on this long run where they didn't lose a home game for 2 years or whatever, 3 years, and now they're staring at losing back-to-back home games.
has got to end at some point.
So yeah, I mean, I don't need to go down my list. Everybody can see my list there. I I think uh, Ohio State is probably the third best team. And just to let you know what the way I did mine is, I put it um, as I went down the list. I was like, who's gonna when I came to position 3 or 4 or whatever, I was like, who do I think would win head to head? Mine's more like our power rating team, list at this point. Like, I think Texas would beat Ohio State. I don't think they'd beat Georgia. I think Alabama would beat Tennessee, but I think Ohio State would probably beat Alabama. You see what I'm saying? On down the
Mm,
list, I think Tennessee. I don't think they would beat Texas. I don't think they beat Ohio State. I don't think they beat Alabama if they played right now. That's just my opinion. Um, you know,
I think Tennessee could beat Ohio State.
They
but you
just
have
did
them
it.
behind Ohio State.
They
I,
they
But see, that's my point. That's just the way I did it. I went
yeah,
down the list, and on down to Miami. They've started out really good. Um, Kind of a little bit of a question about the quality of opponents there.
yep.
But I mean, you could say that about a lot of teams right now. 2 games into the season, Oregon has been disappointing, but I think they've got a chance to get healthy. I don't think they're very healthy right now, especially along the offensive line, and I think that's causing them issues. And believe it or not, they're missing Bo Nix. Um, their quarterback
I
that they have this
was
year, he's not playing to the level that Bo Nix was the last 2 years, not
no,
even close. So they're missing Nix by a lot. Um, and Penn State, I put them at 11. Almost left them off my list completely after watching the game they had this week against Bowling Green. I mean, Bowling Green very easily could have come out of the Happy Valley with a W.
yeah,
And Utah's always solid. I think they're probably gonna be the odds on favorite to win uh Big 12. Um I think Miami's gonna probably win the ACC. Yeah. Um I, or Clemson. See, that's another thing. None of us have Clemson on here. That's another
they
thing
don't
I just
deserve it.
noticed. Um, I think Clemson is going to move into our rankings for too
Not
much
for me.
longer. I think they're going to win. Well, that Appalachian State has a history of upsetting big teams. Last year they did it at Texas A&M. They've done it to Michigan in the past when they weren't supposed
Alabama.
to. Um, they took a pretty decent team to the woodshed, and like I said earlier, it's amazing how good they looked when they're not playing Georgia. I
Yeah.
mean, Klubnik looked like a whole different quarterback. You look at his stats. I've seen some highlights and some posts, tweets, whatever, showing just his first half stats in that game. They were unreal. Now, the level of competition had something to do with that.
Yeah.
But still, Appalachian State's no slouch. So anyway, that's the way I came up with my list. And as they always will, they'll be fluid as we get more information and more data throughout the season.
Yeah. That's really how I looked at mine too. It's more of a power rating. So if we want to change this to ratings, we can. Um, but I also want to say I really, really considered um I've got Michigan at 13. I don't have them falling as far as the
Wink,
AP
wink.
poll did. And I have Clemson staying right where they were when they played Georgia. I got them at 14. Yeah, you can be like that, but that's
Wink,
those
wink.
two could have easily been in over, two teams on my list. So they're right there. And Clemson will end up being in my top 12. I have respect for them. I think they're gonna play in a weaker conference, and I think they're gonna have their way with that weaker conference outside of probably Miami. So, um,
Yeah, I don't.
Michigan,
I said it Friday. I think when me and you were talking about Clemson after getting, talking about our first game. I don't know that Clemson's going to lose again this season.
may not.
I mean, they go 11-1. They'll be in the ACC championship game, maybe against Miami. They win that. Guess where they're going to be in the college football playoff at 12-1.
Yet they don't play Miami in the regular season, so that very well could happen.
Yep.
That's why I
Um,
said what I said.
they go on the road to Florida State, but that doesn't look like it's going to be tough like it used to. Um,
Clemson's defense is
Destroy
going to
them.
run roughshod over Florida State. Florida
mhm.
State ain't going to
Mm-hmm.
be able to move the ball on Clemson
Not at all.
with their defense. I mean, if Clemson scores 2 field goals, they might win that game.
Yep. That's all they need is 2 field goals.
Now, a notable difference that we had that the AP and the coaches poll didn't. Um, let's see. I'm just pulling that up here real quick. So in the AP poll, they've got Missouri at 6. So that's
Well, we have them. You have them at 8, and me and Matthew both have them at 7. So that's not that different.
well, but that just goes to show you that people are high on Missouri. Like I was saying, they're kind of a dark horse team this year for, a deep playoff run. Because they're
I
gonna
don't know
make the
how dark
playoff.
horse because they had such a good year last year, and most of that team came back, and their defense is really really good, and the offense. I mean, their quarterback is really good, and that dang receiver that they got, Luther Burden. I mean, he's just enjoy him now while you got him in Missouri because he's going pro at the end of this year. I guarantee you.
Percent.
Mhm. What what I was just really meaning by that though is that they haven't been like a national power.
No, I know. Yeah, I get that. I
Like
get
the
that.
national powers are 1 through 4 in the AP poll. And then, it's, basically how have you looked recently? Um, so and
We'll see how they do.
yeah, the AP poll has Oklahoma State at 13. So
Rightfully so.
Was
Because they
are they
barely
13
beat.
on your poll too, Matthew?
No, I would have them lower just because of how bad they were against Arkansas.
Won the game.
Hmm.
They
they
won.
won.
So they should have lost.
Should have, could have, would have. They didn't.
They scraped by to a sorry Arkansas team that doesn't have a quarterback.
Oh my gosh!
Sorry,
You don't think
Arkansas team
Arkansas?
that y'all
You don't
both
think
picked.
Arkansas's quarterback is going to be good or is
No,
good?
no.
I think you need to go rewatch that game. Watch both games. The Arkansas's problem is not their quarterback. I guarantee you that.
He couldn't finish the game. He can
Hmm?
have all these nice stats and everything, but he didn't finish the game. Stats don't mean anything unless you get the win.
Mm. Okay.
But Oklahoma State won, so that's what really matters.
They don't deserve 13, though.
uh, what's funny to me though, cracking the top 25 for the first time probably ever, we'd have to look at this, is Northern Illinois after beating Notre Dame.
I, I love seeing that game. That was amazing. Seeing
And
Notre Dame fall like that to a
one
sorry
After
team
getting so high, I mean, Notre Dame,
and paying them $1.4 million to play them and lose.
that's the best part.
Not
the
only do
best
you have
part
to
is just the
lose
fact that they
money,
lost, but after beating Texas A&M, you would have thought they were the second coming of Jesus.
Hmm.
And, you know,
yeah,
everybody was all on board, and rightfully so, because you looked at the rest of their schedule and you didn't really see a loss
It
on
was
it.
cake.
yeah,
But guess what? The very week they
you
lose at
lose.
home to Northern Illinois. Nothing against Northern Illinois, but you know, they they had no business beating Notre Dame,
None.
but they did it,
Right? That's why you got to
and
play the game.
that's exactly why you play the games.
You got to
College
play the
football is
game.
awesome in that regard. That's one thing we all love about college football the most is because
It's the
you
best.
never know
It's the
what's going to
best division.
happen from one weekend to the next. I mean that point right there makes the whole argument right there. Notre Dame week one, they go to Texas A&M and slug it out and come out of there with what you think is an impressive win. The very
Mhm.
next week, they crap the bed and get upset at home.
I loved it.
It was great.
I was so happy. I was like, oh, stupid Catholics.
I cannot endorse that statement.
Yeah, we may have to edit that one out.
No, I don't. Um, but yeah, seeing Notre Dame lose was amazing. And then, of course, seeing Michigan lose was amazing. But I'm scared for Georgia on Texas. I really am. Quinn Ewers is a dog.
He's a Longhorn.
Gosh. Anyways, um,
Literally, he is a
our
Longhorn.
I hope and pray our defensive line, our young defensive line, does good because they got to get to Quinn in order to disrupt him. If
And
not, Isaiah Bond's going to have 5 touchdowns.
mm, I'd be more worried about them rushing the ball on us, honestly. I don't think they're going to be able to throw the ball.
Mm.
Do we want to go over the 6 games we're going to be picking? You want to reveal that or no?
No,
Okay.
I don't have that ready yet.
So that is to be determined, but
To be
we'll,
determined. Yes,
That's your homework.
it'll be revealed Friday
yeah.
on this avenue. I'll send it to you guys, of course, before that, but it'll be
Yep.
revealed to everybody on Friday.
So,
Make sure to have the USC Michigan game on there.
yeah, I think we
We'll
need to
see.
pick. I think we need to pick that one now that we've talked about it so much. See if Matthew
So
puts his money
so
where his
Micah can
mouth
have
is.
another L. Micah can be
Yeah,
one
it
and
still it
six
still
after that.
kills me that Micah was so dang close to losing every single game. If Arkansas just wouldn't have crapped the bed and let Oklahoma State come back, he would have lost every single
Every single
game.
game.
You
And I would
mean,
have
That's
loved it.
hard. That's so hard to do.
well, you mean if Arkansas wasn't a crappy team, because they are.
Now, wait. They're not a crappy team.
They are.
They're not a crappy
They
team.
were lucky to be in that game.
No,
Well, they pretty much
Oklahoma
handled it.
State had the bad game.
They're we talked about their running back for Oklahoma State, and I even made
He
the
did
comment
not
that
do
that dude is
good
a that. Well, you know why? Because
because
Arkansas
they
had a
stopped him.
plan, and they put the shackles on him. They bowed up and manned up, and they played some serious run defense on him. That
And they
cat
played
won't
some
play
SEC
another
football.
game. He won't have another game the rest of the year that few rushing yards. I guarantee you that. Because people were talking like he's a legit Heisman candidate, thinking
I
he's going
believe
to
it.
be able to. So, I mean, Arkansas's got a decent team. They they're just scrappy. They jumped out to a lead, and I don't think they knew how to handle it. Now, granted, they were on the road and they were playing another pretty decent team. But that team's probably going to win the Big 10, no, Big 12. I mean, or they'll be one of the favorites with Utah, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the
so.
other pick. That's everybody else's
I
other
think that's probably going to
option.
be the championship game, more than likely. Utah and
Probably.
Oklahoma State. So, in our Arkansas, what would you say they're like 8 to 10 in the SEC rankings, somewhere in there?
9 to
and
12.
they almost beat the team that possibly could win the Big 12 at their place.
That's just SEC football right there.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's why I thought Auburn would show Cal what SEC football is like, but
We don't need to
No, they
relive
got
that.
no, no, no,
Auburn, I swear.
no.
What the hell
somebody
were we thinking?
somebody stop
I
me the
tried
next
to change.
time.
Y'all didn't allow me.
Yeah, but you picked them first. And by
Yeah,
the
but I
cutoff, that's when you picked them.
You tried to change at 9 p.m. when we were
When we're,
revealing the
when we're
picks.
going, yeah.
I sent the text out before y'all even started talking about it.
No, your picks. Micah can show everybody your picks on the text message you sent him. I'm
I can
sure he
show
probably still
too.
has it. He
Yeah.
I
probably
can
still
show them
has it.
too.
And it says Auburn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we could look at the chat and see that it was after 9 p.m. and we were already
Want to
talking
want to
about,
change my pick? No. Make
like I
sure you send
said,
in
Actually,
what you want to send
four
in.
and two. I'm
7
4 and 2 in
p.m.
my heart.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
5-1 in mine.
No, you're 1 and 5.
No, in my heart, I'm 5-1.
Nope.
in
I
your
cr-
heart you're 0-6, and you realize that you should have been 0-6.
no.
You goose egg.
Yeah, we'll see this week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see.
I hope y'all don't go in six this week because boy, y'all are gonna have some crow to eat with me on Sunday.
You earned that 1-5, right?
I earned it, and y'all will too one time, I'm sure.
I'm sure. I'm sure. All right. So we doing this. We're getting together again Friday,
Yes.
8 p.m., and we'll
Yes.
go over our picks for this week 3, right?
Yep,
Yes.
And preview the Georgia game versus Kentucky
yep.
and our old friend Brock Vandegrift up in
Be a
Lexington.
blowout.
Well, I hope we do that like South Carolina did. For
We'll
some
do
reason, when
better.
Georgia goes to Kentucky, I think they've showed that stat on the game this week. If y'all are watching, um, us versus Kentucky under Kirby Smart, when we play them in Athens, you know what the average margin of victory is?
Uh,
It's like 28 points, 26 to 28 points, something, if I remember right. You know what the average margin of victory is when we play them in Lexington?
3.
10,
Oh,
which is still
okay.
good, but I mean, it ain't 28,
Ain't 4 touchdowns.
right? I mean, a lot of times we go up there and we bleed out a 3-point win or something. It's just crazy. But anyway, hopefully we learn something from the film of South Carolina, Kentucky, and take advantage of some of those same things they obviously took advantage of.
Yep.
Well,
We should call Demetrius and have him talk about it.
I I
Yeah,
would love
let's get him
to.
on the show. Yeah, get him on the show. Touch base with him
I,
and see if he wants to come on our show with us and talk about some SEC football with us sometime.
I can try.
It's worth a shot. He could say no. That's the worst he could
Yeah.
say. I
I'll
don't have
try.
time. Cool.
But I I've enjoyed it tonight. Just want to say thank you to everyone who watched tonight. I saw we had maybe five or six at a time here, and the other night we had up to nine, which was great while we're live. So thank y'all for tuning in, and thank you if you watch this later. We do appreciate it. We just want to say, we're glad to be back doing it, like we said. on Friday, and glad to have Matthew back on with us. Hopefully, it's all three of us as much as possible. We get things do come up though, so thank y'all. Be sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I like to say this too. Let's go ahead and share it with five of your friends. If you enjoyed what we had to say tonight, and just wanted to say everyone have a great week. Um, and as always, go dogs.
Go dog. See you on Friday.
Ooh, dogs. Oh, oh.